From the creators of the hit TV show Knight Rider comes the Bertoni Special, coming to a car dealership near you this summer. Well, what do we have here? We have what's called motivation, and a thirst to make some sort of concept car. So we're going to make a 1980s future concept car. Actually, you know what? This will not actually be from the 70s, but using future technology like the showcase of what comes in the future. And it's going to be made out of fiberglass because, well, it's a future car and all future cars were going to be made out of fiberglass. And because of a lack of foresight or anything like that, I'm inclined to go with a ladder, but we're going to go with a space frame instead, because no, you know what? This is going to be like an American future one. So it's what the Americans would like people to buy instead of a European sports car. But it is going to be a family car, but it's going to be a two-door. And the chassis material is going to be steel. So it's basically, they've taken an old chassis and they've wrapped a new wrapping around it, put in a little bits of new technology here and there, and have gone, all right, we've done a good job. And because it's 70s future tech, it's going to be front-wheel drive. God knows why they thought that was a good idea to go to, but that's what they wanted. Double wishbone. Do I want to put torsion beams in the back just to, like, torture myself? No, let's not do torsion beam. Let's do a semi-trailing arm. Now, this brand spanking new engine is going to be a 60-degree compact V6. Now, don't ask me why they would go with the 60-degree, but sometimes they just make peculiar decisions. And it's going to be made out of cast iron, push rod, cast iron. So there's the same old engine. It's just it's going to have a few little extra mod cons on it. So it's going to be cast. 7. Oh, wow. Direct on 2.7. Cam profile is going to be very mundane because it's the same old camshaft. Compression ratio is going to be about the same. Oh, you know what? No, this could be a bit higher because we're going to go with a futuristic fuel as well, which is just, well, higher octane. And here's the future, guys. Turbos. It's going to have 2 of them. And it's going to be for economy, because they don't want to push it too far. That would be ridiculous. Why give people something that they may really want? Why is the intercooler inside of the engine? What? Going to be injection? It's going to be mechanical, because this is in the 70s, even though I've got it set to 1985. You should calm your tits a little bit. Going to have a single throttle. It's going to be a regular standard intake. Oh my goodness. I'm not sure about that. We might have problems fitting a standard intake in under the hood, so we're going to go with a performance one for now. And because it's futuristic, obviously, we're going to use super leaded, which is such a peculiar thing. Oh, wait, no, now the intercooler's out of it. Okay, well, that's cool. And make it a little bit richer, because even if it is set for the 80s, it's still only governed by the 70s emissions. So we're going to pump in a little bit more fuel. It's going to be dual. There's no catalytic converter? Huh. 1985? There should be. That's weird. Well, I've tried a few different configurations. There seems to be no catalytic converters for this. And I am very confused as to why. It doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. Anyway, we're going to go with a straight through and a straight through, because they do want this one to sound good. We are generating next to no power. What the hell? So you want to hit performance here? Oh dear. I am confused as to why this 2.7 liter V6 is so bad on power. And why does it keep knocking? What the hell? 143 kilowatts? We're gonna say that they're going for really an upper market one. So maybe we'll go a little bit more advanced here. We're gonna say that they put on a race intake manifold. Now, do we go per cylinder throttle bodies here? I get the feeling that's going to stick out the hood of the car. Maybe we'll just have this. We're going to say that there's a lot of aftermarket stuff for cam profiles. So we're going to say that they got a really cool camshaft and stuck that in there as well. Because I need more power out of this, bro. It needs to have too much power. That's what my goal is here. If we hit race, we get a lot more power. Okay, 202 kilowatts. So let's give this brand new engine a listen. Oh yeah, this thing is beastly. And we're going to go with the two-door, not the station wagon. We're going to do a little bit of tweaking here. As I thought, I knew that would happen. Ugh. There we go. Nice. Now, this is an American car, so the front bumper needs to jut out a lot, the rear bumper needs to jut out a lot, and this needs to be about as vertical as possible. There we go. That's American. And since we're going with this American-styled future car, we're going to make it grey, obviously, because that's America's future color. And I've made... No, European. We're saying it's a European engine now. Okay, so it's going to be a manual, and it's going to be a 5-speed because it's using a future gearbox. No, it's going to be a 4-speed. That's all that's available, really. Viscous LSD. Still don't know what a gear is. Sports compound. Make those rear tires big. Like, big. Oh, yeah. You like that big? I like that big. And it's going to be alloy wheels. Oh, you know what? No. This is Europe, so they still like magnesium at this kind of time period. So we're going to go magnesium wheels. And then we're going to have venter discs on the front. It's probably going to be 2 pistons, even though we're probably only going to need 1. Venter disc, 1 piston, make it big. No undercladding because they still don't understand that entirely. A little bit of brake airflow. This is going to be one of those weird 4-seater where they could have 5 seats type scenario. It's going to be a sporty interior. It's going to have a luxury cassette player. Well, that's going to be futuristic, even though I'm not actually sure when cassette players came out. 1963? Okay, we're good. We'll have like a futuristic cassette player. And apparently that's going to weigh a lot too. 110? What is that, 110 kilos? That can't be right. You know what? No, this is, I just realized, a one-off car, so it's going to be handmade interior, because this is a prototype. We're going to have hydraulic, we're going to have ABS, because that's the things of the future, and advanced safety. I'm tempted to go even variable hydraulic, but we'll just say that it has it in spirit, but not in play because I hate it in BeamNG. Then it's going to have some sort of special... we're going to go with air suspension, and apparently we don't have any other choices here. Haha! And it's going to be set to sporty. Since we're going with the European one, we are going to go with, say, a direct acting overhead cam, say like the PRV6, which Volvo made with Peugeot and Renault. I'm going to tell you guys about that engine sometime, and how it ended up in the DeLorean and why that was just, like, god-awful. Anyway, we've got direct acting overhead cams, and now we're generating a little bit more power. 286. You know what? We want a lot more than that. Because as Europeans, they have to compete with, say, the Italians, and the Italians just go overboard. Like 300 kilowatts sometimes, it's crazy. So yeah, we are going to go a little bit harder on everything. Okay, we are now generating 315 horsepower. This is going to be... okay. Oh yeah. Apparently there's more power to be had from the intercooler though. Okay. We are happy now with 255 kilowatts, which is 341 horsepower. Oh my god. From this really shitty mechanically fuel-injected V6. But okay, time to... oh, you know what? No, now we have to change these things around a little bit. 299 kilometers an hour. Though a 0 to 100 is really bad. What the hell? Okay, now it's got 97% drivability. Since we're going a little bit Euro, we can bring this bumper in a bit, rein that in a bit, bring that in all together. And I think we're quite happy. Now this is going to be kind of like those weird prototype companies that make family car prototypes. Say like Polestar, weirdly enough, which is now making their own car entirely, which is cool. I do love a Volvo. But yeah, we're gonna move on to making this thing look pretty. And here we have the 1975 Bertoni Special. Now, this car was an entire concept car from beginning to end, made by Bertoni themselves. They wanted to show everybody what they were capable of. They took a V6 from some French company, will remain nameless, and they strapped 2 behemoth turbos to it. and they have really taken this car into their own. It's got a neon-shrouded grille at the front. It's got their company animal, which I'm going to say is a bunny, because bee and baton and bunny. Yeah. I really did this primarily just to be able to try out those lights that you see at the front. That was just something which I'd thought about for a couple of days now, especially since the last video. And I figured out how I want to do it. And I relatively like it. When it came to the rear end though, I wasn't quite sure. But I think it turned out pretty well. I went out for that blacked out kind of stealthy Kit kind of look. And if you don't know who Kit is, then look up what Knight Rider is. And that was the general idea for the rear. It kind of came around when I accidentally put the grille black hat area on top of the taillights. And the taillight stripe still showed up on the thing. And it looked really good. So I went, you know, screw it, we're going with it. And I kind of really just wanted to do this retro neon kind of style. I'd like to put more neon on it, but I'm not really sure how one might go about adding more neon. For now, we're going to take it over and see what it does on the track and then to BeamNG. I love those wheels. I love those wheels so much. Show me what you've got, and it is a 219. You know what? For a car that's actually meant to be in the 70s, not bad at all. That car just, it looks really good, except for this exhaust down here. We might fiddle with that before we send it out. And here we have our Bertone Special. Now, for those of you though that don't know who Bertone is, he was a person, I'm not actually sure about the person, but the company runs specifically, what would you call it? Oh dear, that's way too bright. A design firm is what the company is, and they designed one of my most favorite cars of all time, a car which I wish I still had, but my dad sold because he hated it clogging up space, was the 1979 Volvo 242C. And I love the car. I was converting it to a better engine because the PRV6 that was in it really sucked, and the front end design was not as great as the other ones. So I went with those as well, and I ended up just abandoning it, and I really wish I kind of hadn't. Oh boy, I didn't realize I had to get so much to speed here. I was just cruising around in a cool looking area. Oh dear. Let's try that again. This time we're actually going to drive fast. We're going to see what this thing handles like. We've got fat tires on this baby. This thing has so much freaking grip. We're going to turn those lights on because it does look really cool. I wish I had more neon on this. I'd love to put the underside neon glowing lights on, but that's not really an option, unfortunately. I do remember when neon lights as like an underside of things became popular here in Australia after, like really after, what was that one movie called? Fast and the Furious. It's a small little like indie film. You may not have heard of it. But yeah, the first one came out and then neons became really popular, but they were just so impractical. Because they were made of neon tubes and on the outside of the car, they would break so easily, and they were so expensive. It took a lot longer until later when, handled that really well. This thing handles like a dream. But yeah, then LEDs started to become a thing as under thinking for cars, and then it just became a little too popular, and it made it look really, really tacky. If you got LEDs on your car, oh dear, I don't know if we should be friends. I'm sorry, I don't want to be cruel, but it is incredibly tacky nowadays. It's not something that, unless you're going deliberately for like a ironic, I think would be the word, an ironic look, then yeah, you don't particularly want that. This thing probably could have done with a 5-seat. Oh no, it went to change gears and we've lost it! Oh no! Like to take the breaths. Whoa! I've never seen a car quite so compact before. Well, that's more suited to European roads, right? They love compacts. Damn. But let's get a little bit serious here. We really want to know what this car is like compared to other ones. So we brought it to the yardstick that is the automation test track. And it brakes fairly well. The acceleration is not nearly as much as what you'd expect from a car like this, honestly, you'd expect a whole lot more. It's a little bit understeer. I probably could have done with a little bit of downforce on the front, but it does okay. You're not going to have really a whole lot of aero at all. The fact that I've got a wing on this thing is quite special, is probably the word I would use for that. Okay, well, we've lost a little bit of time there going off, but part of the test track times is how drivable the car is as well. And if I can't control it enough to keep it from going off there, then that's kind of the car's fault and should reflect it in the time itself. I think that came out as a mirror on the back there. I think that's a problem with that like two-tone issue, except I didn't realize it was with materials that you could put on certain surfaces. I thought I gave it the same surface as the windows, but it really seems that it just came out as a mirror, which is not really what I wanted. Oh, I wasn't paying attention. I got caught not paying attention. Well, with the excess in safety, this thing should do pretty well though. Oh wow, it's actually, you know what? Mostly in one piece still. It can drive, but I want this thing to have like a fair go, a fair dinkum try. Okay, I spent a little bit of time just analyzing this car as I was getting back up to this point, and I realized that this thing is a little too peaky. It's got way too little power at the gear shift, and then it seems to gain all of its power and then just fizzle out and go back to having to change gears and be slow again. Wow! This thing held at 228 kilometers an hour. That is excessive. I love it. That was amazing. This thing is, I'm actually really surprised to say this, really good. I know that it is an 80s car, not actually a 70s car, but I'm gonna say that it's a 70s car and just be like, this is... Oh god, do you see those brakes just then? They really pulled me up. You know what, I don't even know if I actually fiddled with the brakes. I don't know whether my brakes are actually the right size or anything. They probably are not. Did I set up ABS? I think I put ABS on, which is like a future tech, so you'd expect it to be on here. This is also Bertone. So Bertone is also Italian, so they have access to Go Faster mods and also access to all of the European creature comfort type things that you'd normally expect. They'd have the Germans cassette player, because I'm assuming that the Germans would be one of the first people to jump onto cassettes. In Europe, I'm not sure. Don't quote me on that. I don't know if they were the ones in real life, but they are the first to jump onto creature comforts for their customer base. And, you know, for all of that kudos I gave it, it still only did a 230. But this thing handles amazingly, and I love it. It is actually quite happy. Let's see what sort of company it's in amongst. So it's not as fast as the Nissan, which I'd be surprised if it was anywhere in that sort of category. And it's a little bit faster, like on par with the PCP-1. I'm starting to get the idea that maybe the PCP-1 was actually a terrible car, and I just loved it, which is unfortunate. I'm not sure why I want to do this, but I just kind of want to do a mountain pass. So we're going to give this thing a little bit of a mountain pass, and if we have time, we may jump over... Oh my god, see how this thing just creeps off the line because it's a little too picky, get into boost, and then all of its power at about 6,000 RPM. So this thing is not particularly good. But it's Italian, so they're not really concerned about it being good. They're just concerned about how the passion makes you feel. And if numbers are a passion, then they will get you those numbers. 12 cylinders may not be particularly efficient size-wise and power-wise and all that kind of stuff, but they're going to stick one in there for you. You may be able to get as much power out of a V6 as you do a V8 and save a little bit of money, but everybody loves a V8 and nobody particularly cares for a V6, so they do what they must. But then there's the Lancia Stratos, which takes a Ferrari engine V6 and does their thing, which is, I don't know, the Italians are kind of incomprehensible sometimes. I don't really get them, but I do get their taste. Their taste is absolutely phenomenal, even if their more modern Ferraris are all based around how powerful can we make something, how fast can we go around Nürburgring. If we can't go around the Nürburgring in less than 7 minutes, we're not going to bother even trying to make it. It's just, they used to make really comfortable, nice, cool, small and light GT cars that you could also take to the racetrack and beat the pants off of everybody. But now it's all just a little hardcore. They've seen what McLaren did in 2010 and decided to copy what they were doing, which is kind of peculiar. I feel they got offended by Bugatti and tried to compete that way. If you look over to Lamborghini and Ferrari have always been competitors, but really? I mean, Lamborghini never pushed themselves. They just created fun, passionate, crazy cars. And yeah, this car is really damaged after that one incident, and it's causing all of this gear shifting issues. Oh dear. Now, I'm gonna put a bit of a limiter on the old racetrack. I'm gonna say that the new racetrack, which, unless there is actually lore behind this, I'm gonna say it was created in kind of the late 80s, around the Formula 1 kind of era, when there were lots of places trying to I can't remember. Try to bid for places to become viable for Formula 1 races. And we're going to say that that's when that happened, and that's when this old racetrack became discontinued. But until then, we're going to say that this car, in 1975, was still actually going to be tested on this racetrack as a bit of a, what would you call this? A benchmark for the era. The era says, well, is it faster than a Ferrari? I mean, it's got numbers similar to a Ferrari, but it's a big family car. It can't be quite that fast, right? And then you take it here, you beat the pants off of things, and then people are like, oh my goodness, they clutch their pearls, somebody faints, and then you go, oh yeah, I've created a beast. But we're gonna actually see what it does right about now. That is the fastest car I have had around here. And all I had to do was give it way too much frickin' power. Oh boy. And I think I may have accidentally left this on a ladder chassis too. Oh, well guys, I hope you enjoyed today's video. I sure did. I just remembered that this thing is a front wheel drive. I got the headlights I wanted, though they haven't quite come out quite how I want them in BeamNG. I suspect that's also partly because the color hasn't got the metallic flake in it that I wanted. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll catch you next time. Bye!